Like I say, welcome along everyone. So what I want to do today is just tell you about Veltrak and give you a brief overview of how it actually works. And I guess most of all, like Phil said, answer your questions about it. And I'm sure you'll have a few of those. But at the end of the session, we hope, or I hope that you have a better understanding of these four things. What is it? Why do we need it? How does it work? What do you need to do and when? So, what is Veltrak? Well, it's an electronic web-based system for tagging and tracing deer velvet from the time it's harvested until it reaches the market. It uses the wristband style tags printed on synthetic paper, and the tags look very similar to the ones that we've been using for the last couple of years, except they're black. And you'll know each of the tags has this unique barcode and number as before, but the big difference now is that each tag will also have that barcode number recorded onto an embedded, UHF RFID chip. So this allows the tag velvet to be scanned and recorded and tracked either way right through that supply chain. So you can get your farm business set up for Veltrak anytime from next Monday, that's the 3rd of May, and you'll get an email invitation to register onto Veltrak. And from the 1st of August, Veltrak goes live for the start of the 21-22 tag ordering season. So get registered well before then, and preferably as soon as possible after the 3rd of May. So why the change to Veltrak? Well, like all food products of animal origin, velvet must be fully traceable. And the Regulated Control Scheme for Deer Velvet Harvest, the RCS, which was introduced by MPI back in 2017, marked a big step up in food safety standards for velvet. And Veltrak takes this further. It dovetails nicely with the RCS standards and it supports product safety right through the chain. And as you'll know, if you haven't passed an RCS velvet audit, you won't be able to get Veltrak tags or sell velvet. So overseas health food companies like Korean Ginseng Corporation want traceability and high food safety standards. And they want to know that our assurance system has integrity and our systems have to match those demands. And we've now got that technology to make this happen. And these health food companies are plugging the attributes of New Zealand velvet in their marketing, things like purity, quality, hygiene, welfare, and of course, product traceability. And our velvet industry is now worth more than $100 million at the farm gate, and Veltrak's going to help protect this brand integrity for New Zealand velvet. There's also demand from everyone for processes to be streamlined and flexible, so you're not spending too long bogged down with compliance work. And Veltrak is unique to New Zealand, and it gives our velvet producers, that's you guys, a strong competitive edge. And finally, overseas customers have welcomed Veltrak with open arms, and here's one of those customers.
We always buy New Zealand deer velvet because it's the best in the world. But even with the best food product, there are risks. Veltrak will help us manage those risks. Thank you, New Zealand deer velvet farmers. Veltrak is a great initiative.
Okay, so how it works. As Phil mentioned, there's a comprehensive farmer user guide for Veltrak, so don't worry if you don't remember every detail today. This is just an overview. But you can actually get the guide on the DINS website. So just go to the DINS activity tab at the top of the page, click on that, go to the next one, drop down, and that'll take you eventually to the home page, and you can get the copy of the user guide from there. So here's that flow chart, and I'll just show it to you to give you an idea of how things will work. It looks more complicated than it is, so just bear with me and I'll talk you through it. So here you are on the farm, your velvet is cut, you've applied the tags, put it in the freezer, just the same as always. Now the velvet's collected by a packhouse agent or buyer, that's all pretty much the same process as well. They'll collect the velvet, they'll scan the tags, raise an electronic velvet status declaration that will eventually get sent to you. So whether it's a packhouse agent who collects the velvet, scans the tags, raises the VSD on the spot, or an agent who takes the velvet away and it's scanned back at the packhouse, and the EVSD, sorry, is done from there. Or it's actually picked up by an independent buyer who does the scanning for the EVSD. In all of these cases, you'll get an email coming into your box telling you that there's an EVSD waiting for you to approve on Veltrak. So that's when you'll go into the Veltrak website and approve the EVSD. So there'll be no more paper. You'll do it all online, and I'll play you a short demo of this just a little bit later on. And just one last point there. If you've got internet available on site at your shed when the velvet's been picked up and the velvet's been scanned, you can do the EVSD approval there with your agent or the buyer at that time. But those tags have to be scanned at that time. Okay, I've talked about scanning. As I mentioned, it's web-based. None of the people involved in Veltrak, that's vets, farmers, velvet buyers or packhouses, needs any special software. You just need a compatible browser on your PC, tablet or smartphone, and it's a little bit like internet banking in that respect. It's pretty simple. The only people who will need the specialist scanners, like you see there on the right-hand side, for the electronic chips and the tags are the velvet buyers or the receiving packhouses. You don't need to have one of those UHF scanners, but if you do want to record barcodes on velvet for your own farm management purposes, you could use one of these simple point of sale scanners that you see in pretty much every shop you go into these days, and they range between $100 and $300. Okay, so who needs to register for Veltrak? Well, everyone using Veltrak, that's vet practices, farmers, velvet buyers, packhouses, will need to register as a business for Veltrak. There are different start dates for each group, as mentioned, and you can get registered from next Monday, which is the 3rd of May. If you happen to be a deer vet and a deer farmer, then you'll actually have to be registered twice, once as a farmer and once as a vet business. And I'll show you a quick rundown on getting registered shortly. When you do register, one part of that will be nominating the vet practice where you'll be getting your tags from. Now, none of the following should be of news to you, but I'll cover this anyway because it's important. If your facilities have failed an RCS audit, you cannot access Veltrak velvet tags or sell velvet into the food chain. Your velvet has to be removed either by your vet or by you if you're NVSB accredited. So remember too, your NVSB certification includes ongoing obligations like the annual supervisory visit, the annual fee, and the record keeping, all to access Veltrak tags. So you have those three things in place. The RCS audits have passed, velveting is NVSB compliant, your business is registered in Veltrak, and you'll have access to Veltrak tags and the right to sell velvet for human consumption. So all that's in place, your business is registered, and you've selected your vet practice to supply your tags, and you can order and pay for your tags from your vet, and I'll talk more on cost a little bit later. And a final note on getting tags, you can't use the old blue tags that we've had for the last couple of seasons, and you can't share tags between farms, and that's really important for protecting the integrity of the whole system. We'll have a look at the registration process and have a quick look at a mock-up of how the initial registration on Veltrak works. Your primary contact will receive the email invitation to register Veltrak. So just click on the link in the email and that'll start the registration process. Enter your email address, and it must be the address that the invitation was sent to, and press next. And when it works, you'll get a new email asking you to set up your Veltrak password. Your email address will already be in there, and just create your password and confirm. Now that's set, and you can log into your Veltrak account. Check your profile information is correct, click update, and then you're on your home page. And there's your home page. So let's have a look at that. It's quite simple, quite easy, very plain, which is what Veltrak's all about. A couple of tabs at the top for managing the business, for reports. There's a running total. That's the number of tags that you'll have in stock on your farm at any given time. Obviously that self-populates when you put tags on Velvet and send it away and you've approved the EVSD, the number of tags will decrease automatically there. There's another section for being able to trace tags that have gone off the farm, and there's a section here for approving your VSDs. All quite simple. Let's have a look at your farm business and user details and setting up, selecting your vet practice. So start with managing the details from the home page. Now search for your vet practice. There'll be a drop-down box there with all of the vet practices in New Zealand listed. Select your vet practice from the list, and that's the vet practice that you'll get your tags from. Make sure your email address specified as the one that's regularly checked for Veltrak. That's where the notifications get sent. Enter your NATE number. You only need to do that once and it'll self-populate for VSDs in the future. Select save, and that's all there is to it. Quite simple. Now's a good time to briefly mention Veltrak roles here on the farm business, and they're just two, and we call them super and regular. Both have access to all the Veltrak functions, except the super, who can also manage business details and users. So the super will do things like adding new staff, for instance. And here's a page showing that. And here's a quick demo of someone setting up a new staff member on a dummy account. So start with manage users again on the menu bar. Click add new staff. Put in their details, choose their status, and remember a super member can manage the users and business details in the system. Everything else is the same as a regular, and that's all there is to it. And that's done. So looking at, once you're set up in Veltrak, approving an EVSD is the most common thing that you'll probably use the system for in the future. So approving a Velvet status declaration, the packhouse or independent buyer who is purchasing your Velvet will prepare an electronic Velvet status declaration or EVSD for you to approve. And that'll be emailed to you telling you, or an email will be sent to you telling you that it's ready. If there's internet access available, this can be done on the spot. Otherwise, the EVSD will take a few days to come through. You can approve an EVSD on your computer or mobile phone, but please read and check the EVSD carefully before you approve it, because you can't change anything after it's approved. And remember, you don't get paid until after you've approved the VSD. So let's go through approving an EVSD, and as you'll see, there's a place on your home page where any pending VSDs are waiting. And here's a quick demo of approving the VSD on Veltrak. You can do this approval from the mobile phone or desktop like I've mentioned, and we're showing the desktop version here. Notification will be emailed to the address and the business details. And if you know the VSD is ready, you can just log straight into Veltrak and approve it. So here it is on your home page. It's already populated with your details. including the number of sticks and the weight. And the approval form, the velvet status declaration form, most of the questions will be yes. If there is a no question ticked by mistake, you'll get a warning. You can go back and fix it, but if it's left as no, then the VSD can't be approved and you'll need to talk to the velvet buyer or talk to us here at Veltrak. There are other reports and tracing sections on your homepage. You can use these reports on the main menu bar to generate reports and keep tabs on all of your activities. The farmer VSD list shows what's pending or approved. You've seen that before. Other reports you can use, things like tags off farm. And this will be able to show you where your tags are at any given time. Very useful for any MPI audit requirements in the future. And the other report is tag destinations. This is also useful for your MPI audit, and you can use these to trace the movement of individual tag numbers on and off the farm. All quite simple to use. So what do I need to do and when? Well, now we're down to the business end, I guess, and if there's nothing you've heard today so far that hasn't stuck, then these are the 4 things that you need to take notice of. Does DINS have your email address? If not, please let us know. Anyone with no email addresses, no internet connections, no coverage, please talk to us and we'll try and find options. There's a free phone 050800 Veltrak number that's set up. That'll be in operation from next Monday the 3rd to field any calls for anyone having any problems with registering. From the 3rd of May, I've already mentioned you'll receive the email invitation and use that link in the email to get registered. There's only a few days away. Please don't leave it too long afterwards and the emails get lost in the inbox. Best to get onto it straight away before that actually happens. And also before the 21-22 velvet season, order the new black Veltrak tags from your vet practice as usual. From the vet practice, not through Veltrak. Allow 2 tags for mature stags, exactly the same as all the previous years, and extra tags for bags of regrowth and spiker velvet. Once the 21-22 season starts, apply the black tags to your velvet when harvested and promptly check and approve the draft EVSDs on the Veltrak website once your velvet has been sold or has gone to the pack house, and then you're away. And you'll be used to using the wristband style tags, so what we've had for the last couple of seasons. But here's a quick refresher, and remember especially to apply the tags loosely around the velvet so it doesn't inhibit the drying. If the main beam is too thick, move it up the beam. 1 tag only per stick. Make sure the writing on the tag is facing the right way up, and each end of the tag is lapped over to form a smooth surface rather than the 2 ends stuck together to make that sharp surface. And please don't draw right or deface the tags in any way. Okay, what the tags cost. The development of the Veltrak system has been funded by DINS from levies, approximately 450Ks. In the past, tags have been supplied free of charge, but from now on, the costs for the tags will be shared between DINS levies as before and by farmers. You'll order your tags from the vet practice the same way as before, and your vet will invoice you for your share of the tag cost. And the recommended retail price is 49 cents a tag, but that price will be set by your vet practice. So in summary, Veltrak will protect the product safety and integrity of the velvet industry, and it's closely linked to the RCS and helps make it watertight. Farmers play a key part in the whole system. It's simple and secure, and Veltrak registration for farm businesses opens from the 3rd of May, but please get it done before the 1st of August. principal contact in your farm business will get the email invitations to kick the process off. Please make sure that we have an email address for you. And I'll be the first to admit no system is perfect from day one, but we'll give it a damn good shot, and feedback will certainly be welcomed. Over to you, Phil.
Excellent. Hey, thanks very much for that, John. Just so you know, this is actually our final presentation today, a webinar for farmers. So, yep, ran very smoothly. Okay, so now for questions and answers. We just have one so far, but I do have others that people have asked previously, which I think are worth going through as well. So the question we've had, it's one that's cropped up occasionally before, is from Sue, who says, if we've got two farms, do the tags need to be ordered separately, or can they be grouped together for both farms? So John and Pam, what's the deal?
Depends how we've got your farms registered on our list. If we've got you as two separate farms, then you would be registering as, you know, two separate farms, getting tags that way. If you've got two farms working as one entity, well, then you just one. So contact us if you're not sure or can't find both your farms on when you go looking for them, when the invitation comes through.
Yep, no, thanks, Pam. I mean, I think it's what's sort of shown up through this process of these webinars is that farms and farm businesses with velveting involved do come in all shapes and sizes. Yeah, right from just the simple operation with one shed, one farm, easy, or you might get a larger operation with more than one shed, or then as our questioner here said, you know, two separate farms. The main thing is that we want the system to be flexible, but I think the traceability thing is also important. John, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the key to the whole thing. It's and it will only work in that way.
Yep. Okay, no, that's good. Okay, right. Well, look, just remember, everybody, if there's anything else that's popped into your mind, just listening to the presentation, just type it into that chat box there. But look, in the meantime, we need to maybe have a look back at some of these other questions that have been asked. So the recommended retail cost of the tag, I think that's been covered, hasn't it? Somebody did ask yesterday though, why can you only get the tags through vets? Why do they have a monopoly?
The system does allow at the moment to get tags from other vet clinics, but vets don't have the monopoly. But let's look at the system. You've got a vet supervising vet, and a vet clinic that you'll be dealing with. I think it's probably going to be splitting hairs. If you want to go down the road for 1 or 2 cents cheaper to buy the tags, you'll lose the relationship you might have with that vet. But on top of that, that vet and that vet clinic has all your details of your NVSB certification. Another vet down the road may not or will not have that. And so in theory, while it sounds good that you can go get tags from somewhere else, in reality, you get your tags from where you're dealing with in the first place.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, John. I think maybe they were all, this particular question may have been wondering why it has to be a vet practice at all. Could it be, you know, a business that's not a vet that's supplying tags? But I guess that would be sort of partly to do with the integrity of the system, would it?
And it relies on farmers and vets working together. Yeah, it certainly wouldn't work trying to source tags from an outside distributor.
Yeah, no, very good. Now, another question's just come in, and this is one that I think we've had just about every webinar that we've run, is that if I've ordered too many tags and I have some left over at the end of the season, can I carry them over?
Yeah, of course, the tags are live at all times. Those tags will last next season, the season after. Once they're scanned off the farm, then they drop out of that of your live system. So, and that goes back to the homepage that I showed before about the number of tags in stock. So at the end of the season, yeah, if you've got 20 or 30 tags left over, they're still viable or still valid for the following season.
Yep. And obviously you just take that into account when you're figuring out how many tags you need to order the following year. No, that's good, and you can carry it forward indefinitely in theory, can't you? It's not just 1 year. They're live as long as you're still on Veltrak.
Actually, one of the beauties of it all is you don't have to go counting through your packets to see how many you've got. You've got it there on your system straight away.
Yep, no, absolutely. Yeah. Now, security obviously is a very important part of it, and product integrity and so on. Somebody did ask us the other day, is it possible for the tags to be copied out there in the marketplace? What happens if somebody tried to do fake tags? Would they get away with it?
Well, I guess in this day and age, in the electronic world, there'll always be someone, I guess, trying to have a go. But when you think about it, you're going to destroy the tag once it's removed from the velvet anyway. And once that tag has been scanned, that becomes invalid, or invalid is probably the wrong word, in the whole system. So it can't be used again. So if someone overseas tried to do that, pull the tag off, it wouldn't register anywhere at all.
Yep. So it's again, it comes back to the fact that it's a simple system, and that kind of helps make it a bit more secure.
Yeah.
Another question here. Rosalie says, in my case, I don't have an on-farm internet connection, but still sell on occasion to road buyers. It seems this system might be problematic for getting payment immediately, as what happens as happens presently. How can we avoid the credit risk associated with getting payment later? So the scenario seems to be road buyer comes along, the transaction's done on the spot, but because there's no internet connection there, it has to be done later. John, what's the answer there? Mobile phone connection, possibly?
Well, there's a couple of scenarios. One is that they can use another email address, maybe family or anyone. But if any situation, well, those situations are probably going to be different every time. So if there is anybody in that situation, give us a call and we'll see if we can work through the solution with it. I don't think there's just one fix-it-all answer for that question, because we are aware of a couple of instances where they just don't have any access, internet access, any cell phones, anything like that in remote parts of the country, but we'll work with them trying to find a way that we can make this work, because we want to get right away from any paper-based systems into the electronic scheme. So,
Yeah.
That anybody buying your velvet will have to be a part of the system as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So they'll have to be registered at their end. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And you just brought up another sort of common question, I think, John, that we've had from time to time is, look, if I'm a bit allergic to new technology and so on, I'm very happy and comfortable with my paper VSDs. Can I keep using those and just send in paper VSDs?
Short answer is no. We're going to move right away from the paper-based system. But like I said previously, Phil, anyone on that situation, contact us and we'll try and work out a solution.
Okay, now here's another question actually that's come, which has just come in. Thank you, Anna. Is it a requirement to have each tagged stick of velvet recorded back to individual stags? In the past, we've recorded this in paper form, and if so, how are people recording? So yeah, that's a thought that's sort of cropped up quite a lot from velvet growers. What's the story there?
It's not a requirement from Veltrak, but if farmers want to use it for their own on-farm programs to record against individual stags, that's entirely up to them. Like I mentioned, they could use one of those point of sale scanners. We have been led to believe, but we don't know for 100% sure, that you can buy a program for a mobile phone that'll work on an app that'll read the code, and that can be put back into a farm, but I have not seen that working live, so it's only hearsay at this point in time. But there's no requirement for Veltrak to record every individual stag on Veltrak itself.
So really the key, what Veltrak does is traces that stick of velvet to the farm. But if you want to record that, and I think there are quite a few farmers that already do that, don't they, with barcode scanners on the now redundant blue tags, but same principle. Yep, no, that's good to know. So now somebody asked at a previous webinar, and it was a good question, I thought. What is your time frame for applying to that email, or when you get an email saying there's an EVSD there for you to approve? How long have you got?
Well, there's no set time frame, but the quicker you do it, the quicker you're likely to get paid for the velvet. So it's in your own interest not to leave it there for a week or 10 days. Respond to it as soon as you can.
Yep. So that should certainly focus the mind. I mean, I guess as Veltrak plays out and we have our first season of Veltrak, if any of these sort of things become issues, then it's always something that can be revisited. Yep. Okay.
And there's always that 0800 or the 0508 Veltrak number.
Right.
And Pam's loving me for saying this because you're talking to her if you call in on that number after next week anyway. But.
Yeah.
Something else I want to say, Phil, is when the invitation does go out to join Veltrak, it doesn't come from us personally or DINS. It'll be coming from Veltrak notification email, so it'll look a little bit different than what we normally see.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's good, and I think it's important that that's why it's so important that we have, or DINS has, the email address that you're going to be using ongoing for Veltrak. Yeah, no, that's good.
The other important thing too, Phil, is that Veltrak and the NBSB are two separate entities. They're not joined together. They run in parallel, but Veltrak is completely separated out from the NBSB.
Yeah. So they're sort of parallel systems, but together they provide a lot of security, I guess, for velvet markets and so on. We do get a few questions about the tags themselves. What if something happens to the tags and you can't use them? Should you record that in any way? I mean, if rats chew them or whatever, can you get them replaced, or is it up to you to make sure they're protected and looked after? Is there some way of recording that in the system?
Yeah, well, it's up to the farmer to look after those tags. If one is destroyed, blood or water and on the floor, then the suggestion would be to record that on your own records. But they're not replaceable tags. You can't go back to your vet and say, hey, I've just lost that one, give me another one, please. Right.
Yep. So that's 50 cents you've blown, or whatever you've paid for them. Okay. That's very good. So yeah, we also had a question yesterday actually from somebody saying, look, we're fairly small operators, and we've got a couple of other neighbours who also cut velvet, and just for convenience, we like to pull the velvet together. Maybe a buyer or an agent picks it up and all of us can. So can tagged velvet from more than one farm go in together? Is there any problem with that?
We had that question asked yesterday. I think there's no problem with that. If one individual takes 3 or 4 or 5 consignments of velvet down to the local depot, and they're all mixed up, the Veltrak scanners has the ability to separate every one of those out into their own individual farmer ownership. The right word, yeah. We've actually in the trials that we've seen conducted at some of the pack houses with huge crates of velvet, probably 100 odd sticks, and every one of those sticks are itemised right out to the farm of origin.
Yep. No, that's comforting to know.
It's probably not going to be ideal for the buyer or the local depot when there's a whole lot of velvet sticks dumped on them, but yeah, it wouldn't be a problem to sort them out.
Now, you probably did cover it in your presentation, but I think it bears revisiting. Occasionally people have said, look, you know, they feel a bit insecure about it because they think like the beams on my velvet are like tree trunks, and I'm not confident those tags will fit around them. So what do we do for these situations? Can they use 2 tags, or what do they do?
No, 1 tag only, Phil, and if it doesn't fit around the beam, then move further up the stick and place it around the beam further up between times, so it won't fall off, obviously. Yep. But it's not a problem to have it placed further up the stick.
Okay. If the agent comes to pick up your velvet and you find a stick that the tag has fallen off and you can't find the tag, what do you do?
Put another one on.
Yep. Simple as that. And be more careful. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. Now, if my supervising vet comes from one particular vet clinic, but I prefer to pick up tags from another clinic because it's closer and more handy, do I need to register with the supplying the clinic where I get my tags, or the clinic where my supervisor is?
The vet that comes, if that's a farmer that's had his shed RCS approved, he's got 6, 8, 10 stags. The vet that comes to remove that velvet could sell him or allocate those tags when he came and add the cost of the tags onto his account.
Right.
If that's the question that you're asking, or just quite.
Yeah, I think the question was, you know, if they're supervising vet comes from one particular branch of the clinic, but their actual closest clinic is a different one, so they'd rather just pick up their tags from the closer one, but it's part of the same vet business, obviously. Is that doable? Is there enough flexibility in the system for that to happen?
Well, it depends whether they are registered and whether the clinics are interacting with each other and put that process in place.
Yep. So that's really a conversation they need to have with the vet, just to make sure that all works. Yeah. No, that's good. Okay. And I'll just squeeze in one more question because our time's just about up. What is the tag pack size, and are they in numerical order?
Yeah, the tags will come in packs of 50 as they previously had, and then bundles of 1,000. And yes, they will be in sequential numerical order. And we were assured of that again this morning on a video link we had with the tag suppliers. And we made it very, very plain that had to happen. They had to be in sequential order.
Yeah.
If they're not, Pam and I will be on the first train out of town.
Yeah, it certainly has been an issue in the past. Yep, no, that's good. All right. Hey, well, look, that's excellent. Thank you, you two. And look, thank you to everybody who's sent in questions today. That's been very helpful. I think it always teases out a few issues. So just remember that you can get more information from the DINS website, and the link there is at the top of your the chat box there if you want to quickly copy that, or you can just go onto the DINS website and navigate your way around. But yeah, look, thanks very much for joining us, and hopefully you know a little bit more about Veltrak now than you did before. And thanks, John and Pam, too, for your presentation. I'll say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.